Is working out modern couture? Rick Owens certainly seems to think so in a famous quote that goes around the message boards a lot. I don't know if I'd say it's a controversial statement so much as it is an unusual statement for someone who's trying to sell clothes. But I wanted to talk about it a little bit because I kind of fall on both sides of the fence of this. I personally am someone who likes to work out. I don't know if I can call lifting a hobby, but it's something I do every day. I take it really seriously, and I do think it has an impact on obviously how you look, but also kind of how you dress. So let me quote Rick exactly here just to make sure I don't get it wrong. Working out is modern couture. No outfit is going to make you look or feel as good as having a fit body. Buy less clothing and go to the gym instead. So again, that buy less clothing thing I think is kind of interesting from someone who makes their living on selling more pieces. But, you know, Rick has also come out before and said, like, you don't necessarily have to buy tons of stuff. I think he's more focused on finding, very special pieces to you. And also, I mean, I think it's kind of undeniable to say that having a fit body or looking a certain way is a symbol of status, let's just say, especially with the Ozempic craze right now and every celebrity just turn into a skeleton. I think we're going to see that even more and more down the road with working out in terms of, getting jacked. It's kind of an industry secret. I think that all the like Marvel dudes are on, let's just say, PEDs. And I wonder when we're going to start to see our rash of celebrity deaths from abusing roids. I guess why I say I come down on two sides of this issue is, as someone who does like to work out, I don't necessarily think it's for everybody. Yes, obviously working out, lifting, running, whatever, is probably going to make you feel better. I mean, there's some people for whom it's just not their thing. You know what I mean? Like maybe running, several times a week would actually make them feel much worse and make them feel too tired to even get up and walk around a little bit. I've certainly dealt with that a little bit in my personal life, pushing things a little bit too hard, and I end up turning into a bit of a zombie. And you know what? Like, while I think it's healthy, I don't think everyone has to do it. You know what I mean? Like, if it's not for you, it's not for you. And I also don't necessarily think, choose my words carefully here, that everyone will look better if they work out a little more. I guess my example would be if you take someone who's, I don't know if I'd say like morbidly obese, but like 50, 100 pounds overweight or something like that. The amount of working out and exercise that they would need to do to get from that size to like look like Tyrone, Rick Owens' Tyrone, would be insane. It would require like at least a year, if not, multiple years of transformation. And then, at that size, they probably need to have surgery to remove like loose skin and things like that. So for someone like that, that's more than a fashion decision. That is a lifestyle change, and a massive one at that. And could that person, maybe lose a couple of pounds by going to the gym more? Yes, but is that really going to have a massive impact on how they look? Me personally, like I used to be a little bit bigger, like I'm talking like 20 pounds here, but I used to have a little bit more bulk on my frame. And during the pandemic, I kind of slimmed down a little bit more. Coincidentally, I was getting really into the Eddie Slimane, SLP heady boy aesthetic at the time. And so it kind of worked out for me where I was going for slimmer silhouettes. I wanted to obviously look a little bit slimmer myself, but that wasn't like a huge transformation for me. But even myself, like I don't have, like I do work out a good bit. I don't have like twig legs. These guys I think look best when their legs are basically bone. You know what I mean? Like the classic Eddie boy, skinny silhouette. So that's for a very specific body type. At the same time, you see the dudes who are relentlessly mocked on like Instagram or whatever, who have just like, massive quads and are squeezing themselves into these elastic skinny jeans. It's like, bro, that's not a good look. I think the rule really comes down to you should probably dress for your body type. I mean, it was that what not to wear show. I think back in the day, a lot of what they focused on was like, hey, you could wear these things that play into your body shape and accentuate your good features and maybe hide some of your bad features. Good and bad, problematic language. Again, those super jacked dudes who are wearing the ultra tight clothing, like I would probably recommend to them like a boxier silhouette, straight or baggy or boot cut jeans or something like that to, not be so restrictive and not look kind of absurd with the proportions. At the same time, I talk about the example of someone who's 50, 100 pounds overweight. There are styles that really benefit dudes like that. My mind immediately goes to like Matty Matheson. He has a very defined style. He plays into it really well. He's all tatted up and he has kind of like a cool like workwear vibe to him. I think, there's a lot of dudes recently who have been really playing into that with the whole like carabiner trucker hat aesthetic. So not every person would really even benefit from the workouts or whatever. That all being said, I don't think there's a world in which saying like go to the gym or work out or whatever won't make you a little bit healthier. Like that's not bad advice just for living a good life. And he also focused, I think it's important to remember that he says no outfit is going to make you, he says, feel as good as having a fit body. I think feeling is a big, piece of the puzzle here. We talk a lot about how clothes make you feel, like main character energy and aura and all that stuff. If you feel good, I think you're going to naturally have like a little bit more, you're going to feel like that guy. Also, ironically enough, a lot of people have pointed out that Rick Owens' aesthetic specifically is good for jacked dudes, and I would even say fat dudes. And don't make fun of me, but what makes me think that is this meme picture of Santa Claus. Because I look at that, and I see it come up every Christmas, and I'm like, damn, that looks good. It's just like the classic Rick Owens bomber, pod shorts, geo baskets, whatever. So it's kind of interesting that like Rick is saying this. Rick, obviously a dude who's himself into working out. The Dark Shadow logo is his favorite like pec deck or whatever. As you can see today, I'm wearing the classic Rick Owens Dark Shadow tank top that he walked out on stage on. And I also dressed as for Halloween one time. Nobody in the office got it. So to sum up, I think you should dress for your body type first and foremost. If you want to transform your style, depending on what it is, it could be very tough. Again, if you want to be an Eddie boy and you're 100 pounds overweight, that's going to take some work. Then again, now that I'm thinking about it, I should look up and see if there's any inspo for like overweight guys kind of fitting into the SLP aesthetic. That's kind of interesting. In my head, it doesn't sound good, but it could be. You know what though? Again, going back to the personal style video that I did, if that's what you want to do, man, do it and make that your thing. But again, super skinny guys, they rock that look really well. Man, it's a lot easier being a skinny guy, I think, because you can wear like big flowing baggy silhouettes at the same time, and it also kind of makes you look cool. There's a reason runway models are always like 6'3" and 110 pounds. It's also a good sign that Rick Owens fashion goes with a lot of body types. He's really been exploring that a lot in his most recent collections, I think. In the past, he's kind of had, I think, a little bit more of the typical skinny model thing, but lately his body types are really far-ranging from like jack dudes to women with a little bit of weight on them and stuff. It's kind of cool to see. There's another Rick quote, actually, I did want to pull up that relates to this. So I can't find the quote, but basically in an interview, he said something to the effect of, I know my clothes are very expensive, but maybe save up your money and buy those really special pieces, and it'll make that piece more special. And I think that's, again, an interesting commentary on him saying, like, you don't have to go out and buy tons and tons of crap. I think that's gotten us in the problems that we're facing today with, like, Shein and fast fashion and all that stuff. I get it. It can be really frustrating, like, seeing all this really cool stuff and wanting to buy and experiment with all of it. But I think there's something to be said for what he's saying, where if you do like save up your money and you buy that one special piece, you're going to love it so much more. Rich people who have too much money, they'll buy something and wear it one time. They don't even know what it costs. Whereas if someone buys something that really means a lot to them, I think they'll wear it a lot more, and it'll become like almost like a part of their identity, if that makes sense. Maybe I'll do a review on it someday, but I have this jacket that I inherited from my brother, Rick Owens' jacket, and it's like, I don't even wear it all that often, but I will obviously never part with it, and it's like the most special thing in my wardrobe because of the connection I have with it. I think that's a really cool way of looking at clothes. Maybe I'll do a video on this. It kind of also speaks to me about this idea of like having a uniform. Like Rick has said that he has a uniform in the past. Like you look at his closet and it's like that wide-shouldered Tatlin jacket he has or whatever, and he just wears the same thing over and over and over again for like years, and then he kind of switches it up as his style evolves over time. There's something attractive about that. I don't know how many people would gravitate towards like a Rick Owens uniform. Got to have a lot of job security to be pulling that off in your everyday life. But Rick is a very interesting dude. I would recommend watching some more of his interviews. Maybe if I can find one, I'll link to it below. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Is Rick wrong? Is he off base? Again, I think it's very nuanced. I think depending on what he's talking about, you can kind of thread the needle into saying like, yeah, he's bang on, but it's not a one size fits all thing. Let me know what you think in the comments. While you're here, don't forget to subscribe. I really appreciate it, and it helps the channel grow. Lets me know what kind of content you guys are gravitating towards, things like that. So anyway, peace.